Hi, this is Glenda, and today I'm making a rose theme soap. I'm going to start by adding sodium lactate to the light water solution. This is distilled water with sodium hydroxide, and sodium lactate, if it's added too soon when the lye and the water are still very hot, it sort of destroys the properties of the sodium lactate. So it needs to be added when it has cooled down, if I remember correctly, to at least 130 Fahrenheit. In my case, it is at room temperature because I made it the day before. So it's actually at 77 Fahrenheit, which is about 25 degrees Celsius. Now the oils I warm up to melt them, and they are at 103 Fahrenheit or close to 40 Celsius. As far as the fragrance, I'm doing a blend. I'm going to add honey, rose, as top and medium notes, and as my bottom note, it will be musk. I should say that I actually like this combination a lot. I usually do not like floral fragrances. However, the honey seems to balance the floral notes of the rose, and the musk is not really quite obvious, but it does give it some depth. I've added the light water solution to the oils, and initially I just stirred them, and then I used a stick blender just to bring them to an emulsion or light trace. Because of the rose, I suspect that the soap is going to accelerate. Rose fragrance tends to do that. So I'm actually keeping this very simple. I'm not adding any colorants. I'm gonna let it just be like a creamy white soap. The honey notes do have some vanillin, so I expect it to turn a little bit maybe on the beige side, but the other two fragrances, the musk and the rose, they should not cause any discoloration. I did some quick tapping against the counter to make sure any air bubbles will come up, and then after this, it didn't take long for the soap to set up and be ready for the embeds to be added. I'm using just different kinds of and colors of roses. If you have never made roses with soap dough, I do have a video on how I make them, and I'm going to link that in the description box. Some of them were larger roses and some of them were small boxes that I peel some melt and pour soap, the transparent one, and whatever I peeled off, I folded it into like a cone so that it will simulate those roses that you find during Valentine's, that they're sold individually, which I thought would be appropriate since I wanted this to be a Valentine themed soap. I also made some roses pink color for variety, but this is pretty much it. This soap came together rather fast, which I like since there is no colorant in there, just the embeds. Then on top I decided to add some sea salt, and I used the one that comes in big chunks just as a decoration. And that was it. The soap actually set up pretty fast, so the following day it was already looking more on the creamy side, and I was able to remove it from the mold. Now, it wasn't sticking to the mold, however, it is tricky. It's always been tricky for me to remove soaps from this kind of silicone liner. It's kind of like too flexible, and it's not as easy as with the other silicone molds that I have, that it just pops up after you push it. On this one, it feels that I need to be more careful not to mess it up. And even so, I feel that I did mess up some of the corners, and one of the roses came out in the process, but I was able to attach it back. If you are interested in seeing the recipe for the soap, there will be more links available in the description box. Anyway, this is it. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.